All right. Let's see if we can kill that. All right. And as kind of people start to come in here, mostly I just want to talk to you guys today about kind of the upcoming course that I've got. I originally announced this like early this year. Well, and then the the world kind of turned upside down a little bit. So things got crazy and it's gotten delayed a couple times. So I'm finally back at it, and I wanted to kind of share what I have so far, and hopefully kind of plan things out with you guys a little bit. So chime in and chat. I'm watching chat. There's about a 20-second delay. So if I don't get to it right away, give me about 20 seconds or so, maybe a little bit more, and I'll try and answer as many questions as possible. So, hey, Con. Um, so my idea with this course is that I want to be able to provide a course free that goes over a very, very simple WordPress project. And the reason why I want to make this is because I feel like there's a lot of mystery around creating a project. People want to know how to get like a theme set up and how to get, it deployed, like how to get, a bundler going, and really the amount of effort it would take to do a simple project, because I think that there's this kind of disparity between a like how much effort you should actually put into a site, depending on the dollar amount that you're getting for the site. Obviously, if you're like working at a full-time company and all that, you put in your best effort all the time because you're getting paid a salary for it. But at the same time, if you're doing like a freelance project, sometimes it's hard to find that balance between how much effort should I actually put into this project versus how much am I getting paid. So like the idea of having, let's see, like in this case, a $2,000 project, like, do I need to hook this up to like continuous integration? Do I need to have it a fancy deployment structure? Do I need to have a bundler? Do I need to have, what do I need to support out of the box? Like how much should I be able to rely on a plugin versus how much do I feel like I should code it myself? Should I, install a theme and throw in Elementor or something like that, or do I do everything custom? And so that's kind of where I want this course to be. And so I'm kind of doing this live stream on a Saturday because I think that not too many people are gonna everybody's going to be busy doing other things. So I'm trying to keep the group small, and so I can kind of watch everybody and watch chat. How's it going, Shabu and Cutter? I'm just so I wanted to kind of quickly show you guys kind of what's going on, and if you have any comments about how it should be different or anything, like now would be the time to let me know. So obviously I don't have a logo quite yet. I have it's going to be kind of just like a very simple home builder website. So particularly where I live right now in Utah, there's a lot of growth and a lot of home builders. And so this is a thing that is happening a lot around me. So I figured creating a course around something that I would typically get as a freelance project, I think would be kind of a good subject. So it's a very simple, very, very simple thing here, but kind of what I want to end up showing you guys is kind of how the data is managed, some kind of tips and tricks on how to kind of get this, something like this going, and then go from there. Calvin says, hey, Alex, new subscriber here and loving your content, especially on new things on WordPress and Bedrock. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a pretty darn good combo, and I love it. it's one of those things that I latched onto pretty quickly. And Janton says, hey, Alex, I hope you're good. Discovered you back when you're learning Headless WordPress. Yeah, there's going to be more Headless WordPress stuff, actually. So my goal is, once I kind of finish up this course, is we're going to be spending a lot more time kind of in the JavaScript world, learning how to better integrate WordPress headlessly with other things. I think that there's quite a bit of stuff to do there. Lots of content that we can cover, because and obviously we'll do tons of just regular vanilla WordPress stuff as well. I think there's so many things that we still have yet to cover, but just so you know, that's going to be kind of my next area that we're going to talk about. Colin says, as a developer in an agency company, what mostly is your project? Sorry, sure, what type of company are you currently employed? Okay, so a little background on me is that I mostly worked in agencies and freelance, probably, so up until the past like couple of years. So before that, it was 100% agencies. So lots of clients, lots of turnarounds. So I had tons of projects that I worked on, lots of really cool ones. And WordPress was the main tool for the job, because it was really easy to hand off to clients, and it was extremely fast to get things up and running. And so all of my stuff typically was agency work. And then the past couple of years, it's been I've been working in-house for a company called ClearLink, and they manage on my team, we manage about 12 plus WordPress sites, so that are enterprise, that get, you know, millions of visitors a month and things like that. So my most recent experience is kind of on the enterprise level of WordPress. And so hopefully that answers your question. So and that's kind of why I talk about the things I like to talk about, is because some of this stuff is stuff that I do at work. And so I just kind of, I'm like, oh, that might be a good tutorial. Okay, so kind of we have these thanks for the question, by the way. So we have these floor plans, and so that's going to be kind of the ultimate goal of this site. That's going to be the main content area of this site, is floor plans and showcasing floor plans, because the idea is that you're going to come to this site and you're going to look at all these different floor plans for this company, and then decide on a floor plan, reach out to them, and then start your home project. And so these kind of things here, these like little floor plan cards, are just going to pull information from a custom post type, and it's going to have custom taxonomies that are going to be these kind of home features and things like that. Thanks, Dad. Dad's in the chat. Hi, Dad. And then have just kind of, you know, some kind of showcasing of, you know, the different, you know, images of the homes and things like that. Just a little something, a little call to action down here, some social icons, and another navigation. So you guys, if you follow my channel, probably will recognize some of the features from this. I kind of have stolen some of my own work here to showcase on the channel. So we have this floor plans page, and you're able to kind of sort it by, you know, name, or sort it by newest. And so depending on Barry is the first one on both of those, because he's the newest, and he's the first letter in the second letter in the alphabet. But so you can kind of be able to sort through these things, and those sortings will carry over through pagination, which is just kind of like default WordPress behavior. And so you can kind of bounce back and forth there. You can also sort, kind of filter it down to, you know, single family homes, or you can just do condos. There's just one condos and townhomes. So those two, and it's kind of hard to tell because other than the name, but that's sorting correctly. And so wanting to be able to show off this, I mean, this is a custom post type. I mean, oh yeah. Calvin says how he ported everything from multi-site over to Laravel, and congrats on the 10K. Thank you. Yeah, no, Laravel is fantastic. I love Laravel. We actually use that at ClearLink too. Not on my team, but most of the other, there's a team that I work with on a semi-regular basis that uses Laravel, and love it. Laracasts is and Jeffrey Way is kind of my inspiration for kind of what I want WPcast to end up like. He's just a great teacher, and yeah, definitely an inspiration there. Cutter says, Alex, when you have some time, please check Frontity. I was digging into it the other day and it looks very promising. It's a React front-end framework for you. Yeah, I've actually seen Frontity. It's fantastic. It looks really cool. Like, I would love to see more. I'd love to spend more time with it. I read through the documentation a little bit, and I've talked to one of the creators on a couple times, and yeah, I definitely would be interested in doing more work with Frontity. It's awesome. It looks really good. I mean, it does kind of all the hard work for you out of the box, and so yeah, we'll definitely be covering it. So yeah, no worries there. And then, pardon if I get your name wrong, but Tuan asks, what type of project can be made by WordPress? Is WordPress just for small websites? That's a great question. That's it's one of those things that you can use WordPress for just about any project. Obviously, there are certain projects where it fits better than others. So I would say that with WordPress, it fits most projects, in my opinion. However, there's going to be things where just other programming languages and other frameworks just simply are just so much better than WordPress. And so I feel comfortable saying that, working with WordPress for so long, that there's definitely places that it doesn't fit. Now, I can't really think of a good example off the top of my head, but like very complex data heavy projects where you need the database to be not WordPress's database, or if you need it to, just, I don't know, there's other requirements out there that WordPress simply doesn't cover, or it's just better suited for other things. I'm kind of drawing a blank on what a specific example might be, because most of my experiences, I've been able to tackle everything that I've been assigned to with WordPress. So it's not just for small websites. That's definitely not true. You can do extremely large websites with that, and there's so many cases out there of what out there about who, or somebody use cases for very large WordPress sites. So I wouldn't say that there's a specific size of website where WordPress doesn't work. It's more about the function and purpose of the website itself. Does this theme use Gutenberg? No, it probably won't. And that's one thing that I've actually thought about, and let me know your guys' thought on this. Like, for this particular project, there's no real reason to use Gutenberg, because like there's a more amount of work that actually has to go into it in order to kind of support all the Gutenberg blocks and things like that when you're doing a custom design. And that's not really the purpose of this. This is mostly about just kind of getting a basic theme set up. And so my thought is that I'll probably just disable Gutenberg completely for this project, and kind of more focus on the WordPress APIs outside of Gutenberg. So just like setting up custom post types, custom taxonomies, managing the data, doing things like, we've got this, let's go to our blog page. So let's let Flywheel kind of do its thing real quick, but just like setting up kind of a basic, HTML form that uses WP Mail and Ajax and all that kind of stuff. So say Alex at wpcast.tv. You can select which floor plan that you want to do and just hit send. And then you'll get like a message, and that's actually here back in the dashboard. And so if you can go into form submissions, check it out today, and then it just like stores this. So it'll do two things. It'll go into a custom post type with some information, and it'll drop into advanced custom fields, and then it'll also send an email, which I could probably pull up here real quick if we pull up Flywheel. So if we open up MailHog, so then it'll send you an email as well, and so you can we can kind of play with that a little bit. So no, yeah, probably not Gutenberg on this project. If you guys feel really strongly about Gutenberg, maybe I can do a different course where we dive a little bit deeper into that. It's just not where I wanted this one to go. Cal says, hi, Jeffrey Ware is my #1 teacher from the start. He also came from WordPress too. Realized I kind of followed him to Laravel. I'm more contracted on developing WP plugins. Yeah, Jeffrey Way is definitely, like, him and Chris Coyer kind of are the ones that where I started, or where kind of my inspiration came from for teaching. Obviously, much more like Wes Boston taught Scott Tolinsky as well. They're just fantastic teachers, and it's really easy to latch onto them because they're so good at what they do. And but yeah, Jantin says, already using Headless WordPress with ACF for my freelance projects and integrated with the new Tailwind CSS Typography Plugin with WordPress Tiny MCE. But it is much easier and faster to handle the CMS for a simple dynamic website. Congrats on the 10K subs. Thank you. Yeah, so we're actually using Tailwind for this whole thing too. If we kind of look at some of the HTML here. So you'll probably recognize a bunch of Tailwind classes right off the bat. Relative, BG cover, BG center, PX8, all that kind of stuff. I love Tailwind. It's simply my new favorite thing to use. Like I probably won't use anything besides Tailwind for freelance projects. It just fits the way that I work so well. And that's why I used it in my Webpack tutorial and wanting to get it working, because I love it. No, I haven't lazy loaded the images yet. That's a great point. I need to do that. I'm going to write that down. I have some notes here. Lazy load images. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, it's so many classes. It doesn't bother me that much. I like, because it bouncing back and forth between CSS and HTML just doesn't fit my style. I understand a lot of people don't like it, and there's probably good reason to on some of those instances. It's just the way that I work. I do like that you can kind of come in and do these @applies, and so you can just do a bunch of, you can kind of create one class that does a bunch of classes, and then just purge out everything else. Is it more worth it to just create your own classes for layout, etc.? That's, if I understand your question, Giannis, I think that I kind of have that a little bit. Let's see if we go base. Yeah, just like I have container, inner container, and then column right here. That just kind of makes things a little bit easier. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, like I take advantage of this a lot. So like, they kind of tout on the Tailwind website that you don't need to write a lot of like actual CSS. I kind of found myself writing quite a bit for how much, how big this website is, which is not very big. So like, I kind of found myself using this a lot. And there's certain places where in WordPress, you don't have access directly to the HTML, like in the menus. Like you can kind of get around it, but it just made it easier just to target it with CSS and go from there. So yeah, we on our news page, Davide, yeah, we're just going over the WordPress course that I'm planning on. So I'm just kind of showcasing a little bit about the course and what we're going to be doing, and just hoping for a little bit of feedback from you guys to see if there might be a better way to do it. And somebody brought up lazy loading images, which I completely forgot about. Like, yeah, we absolutely need to cover that. and then so yeah, like here on the blog page, we had that request info thing, and then also like find a floor plan, which is just kind of a wrap or a different way of filtering the floor plans from a different place. So the idea is that you would kind of land on a blog page or this page, and that you would say, well, I actually want to look at condos, and you can click that and it'll take you to the floor plans page, and it'll pre-populate all these things and stuff like that. And then, yeah, somebody brought up the Tailwind typography plugin, which, oh my God, is probably the handiest plugin out there. It's essentially gives you the ability to just wrap your text areas in this kind of prose class, and then you give it like a scale. I chose XL, and then it gives you all of these kind of defaults. I can pull it up. Tailwind typography. There's like a plugin. And so it kind of gives you these like sensible defaults for all these different things. So like ordered list, unordered list, horizontal things, tables, like anything that you would be able to put in the whatchamacallit, inside of the editor. So right now it has Gutenberg installed. I just haven't disabled it. But inside of here, it's like it's got, you can put just about anything inside of here. So you can put ordered lists, unordered lists, links, tables, all that kind of stuff. You can kind of just drop in. And so like normally you would have to like go in and style all of those just to kind of look sane. But with that plugin, you just wrap your article with that class, and then all of a sudden you have stuff that actually looks decent. So if I pull up something else here, maybe I don't remember which one I picked. Let's see if we can pick a different one. So it styles out some of these ordered lists for us. It's got our images, some unordered lists, things like that. And then I kind of used it over here on the contact page, whereas this is a table. And so this table also takes advantage of that Tailwind typography. What do I think about WordPress and React? Asked Raymer. I like the idea quite a bit. Gutenberg, I have a hard time with. When I first started digging into it, I wasn't a huge fan. With ACF's integration with it, it made it a lot easier for me. And maybe it's just because I'm old fashioned, or I just don't like the way that Gutenberg stores its data. It's not very accessible. You can't really access the data in a sane way, and you're kind of forced to use dynamic blocks, and you don't really know what blocks are installed on the site. So it's hard to account for all of those when you're making third-party integrations. And that's kind of how I would normally work. So it's not really in a spot where I feel comfortable using it quite yet, but other people have found like tons of success with it. So I'm not going to disparage that at all. It's just not something that I'm quite comfortable using yet, to the extent where I feel like, or I'm going to use Gutenberg on my next project. It usually is going to be using WordPress as the core engine, and either using kind of a vanilla install, or it's going to be headless and not using Gutenberg. Just my personal preference, but the idea of integrating React into WordPress, I love the idea. I think it's awesome. Are you planning on doing any WooCommerce development vids? I wasn't planning on it. It's been a while since I've done many WooCommerce things. I did want to toy with the idea of doing a Gatsby WooCommerce, either course or crash course, where we kind of set up a mini store with WooCommerce and Gatsby, so you can kind of just manage all of your projects inside of WooCommerce, and you have that whole interface, so you don't have to like type in markdown files or JSON files. You just open it up on your phone, type in your new product information, take a picture of the product, upload it, and you're good to go. Which I love that idea of using Gatsby and WooCommerce. And there was a part of me who wanted to just do that. I at least set like a Gatsby theme for it. And I just didn't didn't follow through with it. I kind of got more distracted on other things with the channel. It's kind of hard with doing like a full-time job and this at the same time. Is like I want to be able to spend like lots of hours on it and get it going. It's just it's difficult. So I ended up kind of losing interest in that, but I definitely am still interested in it. I just lost the momentum. But WooCommerce in general, not a ton. I did a lot of work with it at my last job. And so I have some kind of like ideas floating around in my head about what I could do, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But maybe, yeah, if you guys want me to, just let me know. Reach out to me on Twitter. Give me some ideas of what you would like to learn about it, and maybe we'll do one. So a couple of the things I wanted to show you guys is, so yeah, just it's essentially just like a few page site here. So we've got our floor plans, which we already kind of showed filtering, and so yeah, you got a little pagination there. You can pick on, let's pick the George Michael. And so we're gonna just integrate a simple slider in here like this. I need to change the colors still, but just be able to kind of swipe back and forth between these. This is all touch. You can kind of click through these, click on the dots or whatever. And then it showcases some of the information about the floor plan here. You can kind of get some related posts down here at the bottom, also pulling in some of their information. And yeah, it's just all kind of driven off of this custom post type with custom fields. And kind of the other thing that I'm kind of hoping that I can do with this course is it's going to be not only free for you guys, but like if you were to try and replicate this on a personal project, that you're not going to be spending any money other than for hosting and domain. So like I'm not going to use any paid plugins. I'm not going to use any paid services. Nothing along those lines. So like that kind of hinders me in some ways because I'm used to some of the nice features that advanced custom fields, the pro version, uses, and some other paid plugins or paid services outside of what you can get for free. So that was it's been kind of a challenge to kind of like think around like, well, I don't want anybody to spend any money outside of this course in order to be able to follow along with here. And as much as I want to be able to take advantage of some paid services or applications, I don't want this course to involve that at all. So it doesn't like accurately represent how I would normally do things, but it is kind of, if my hands were tied and my wallet was nowhere to be found, this is kind of how I would go about doing a course. Robert and MSV say hello and howdy, and hello. But anyway, so, and it's not a very complicated site, and that's what the kind of by design. Yeah, I know you've been waiting for the course for a long time. It's been one of those things that I've been hoping to get out sooner, but we're almost there. I just need to kind of wrap up a few things on here, and hopefully we'll be here in the next month or so, and we'll be on our way. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're not going to be using a ton of plugins. Like I think we're going to just kind of keep everything easy peasy here. But yeah, we have these floor plans that are kind of just in custom post types that have just a couple of advanced custom fields here. Like normally I would have this in a repeater, but repeaters are paid in WordPress. So all that kind of stuff. So I kind of have to limit it to a finite number of images, which is not typically the way that I would do it. But then we also have home types and home features. So these are kind of where those things are being stored on the front end. So if we view the post, that's where these features and home types are coming from, and other meta information is coming from the advanced custom fields. So it's just trying to pull in all that information into those different spots And so like that doesn't just show up on the individual page, that's also going to show up in these kind of cards. And so we're going to have a class that, fetches all that information and all that. And since we're also using Tailwind, we're going to have a Webpack build that does all that. Do I sell WordPress themes, and what do I think about the market? No, I don't sell WordPress themes other than just like the ones that I give my freelance clients. What do I think about the market though? I think it's great. I think it's tough though. I think there's kind of a lack of really good performing themes. I think that's kind of where WordPress kind of gets a bad name sometimes, is some of these themes that are you buy try and do a lot and try and cover or cast a wide net with the people that will buy it. And so that has to have a lot of JavaScript and a lot of heavy duty plugins and features. And so it typically makes the site slow. So let's see here. Yeah, I do a full course on ACF Pro. I kind of started a ACF series on my YouTube channel when I first started out last year. I need to keep going on that if you guys are interested in it. And I think the next one that I have planned is the options page and things like that. So we could dive a little bit further into it. I want to get into the actions and filters of ACF as well, because I've used those a handful of times. And so I think that'd be useful to learn about. ACF Pro with Gutenberg is the way forward. Yeah, it definitely felt that way when I was digging into it. I like the way that they're doing it. Robert, you can reach out to me. My contact information is on my about page on YouTube. You can find my email there, or you can just reach out to me on Twitter. I got my DMs open. Oxygen Builder is pretty good. I think that they focus really well on performance. Oxygen Builder. There was one thing that when I was looking at builders that kind of caught my eye, and I'm not sure exactly where it was. Let's see. Because what they had said is they had shown like a comparison versus the competition. Okay, there's one part in particular. Headers and footers, layouts. Where was this? It was like the number of elements. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, where it was, but they had like a heading. Okay, no, this was a really cool like feature of Oxygen that I liked quite a bit. So this was really a really interesting thing, is because there's the idea of like when you use these page builders, that they kind of go into this divception thing. And this is actually something that we found with Elementor when we were researching it, is that when you drag and drop a heading into the content area, it has to generate a bunch of div tags in order to properly style that heading. So you drag in an H1 and it's got like 3 divs, then an H1, and then the 3 ending divs. But I guess in this case, what is it saying? That for Elementor, you end up needing 9 for one heading element. And that's usually because you have to have like things like background colors and a space for paddings and a space for margins and all the different things that kind of need to wrap that element in order for you to have like the insane amount of customization. So it looks like Oxygen is a little bit more performance minded when it comes to things. So yeah, I admire that quite a bit. And this, when we were looking at this, I saw this particular stat, and I thought that was really interesting. Let's see. Front end blog post submit and approval. That'd be a good one. You got a license for all of them. Yeah, got to try them all out. Okay, so you wanted to be just the quick course outline. Well, that's the thing is like I was kind of hoping to talk out loud about that with you guys because I don't necessarily have the course outlined, and that's what I'm kind of hoping to get done today and tomorrow. Is that I have this like built site, right? And I have this idea in my mind of all the different things that I want to touch on with you guys, but I don't want to like overwhelm you all with things that don't matter. Like for example, we're gonna close all this. Like okay, no, we won't get to that part yet. But we have like the home page, right? Obviously, all of this HTML is just like sitting inside of this p tag. That's all going to go into ACF before the course comes out, and things like that. So, but the thing is like because of the way that Tailwind works is like I'm not going to sit here and write all these CSS classes. So what I think I'm probably going to do, and let me know what you guys think, is that the HTML for each of these templates will kind of be in there because I'm just going to trust that you guys know HTML at this point. Like this isn't from the ground up, you know, tutorial or series, but we are going to, you know, work it through all the PHP together, like setting up the header using home URL here, setting up a custom WP query. All that is the thing that we will actually do in the video, whereas just writing out these HTML classes would just be so tedious to see on camera, things like that. This photo is going to be uploaded via ACF, things like that. So let me know what you guys kind of think about that idea. Or do you really want to like watch me like structure this HTML and walk through that with you guys? Because if you think that's a good idea, I mean, I'll consider it. But then on top of it, we'll also, so like that's one thing is like we'll walk through kind of like how to template the things out. We'll also get this like Webpack config going. I pretty much did this in a tutorial already, but I added some more things like post CSS import, post CSS nested, so I could get kind of my normal workflow of CSS in here. And then getting Tailwind configured. So Tailwind is got this object that you can throw things into that make it so you can actually like theme out your course or theme out your site. So you can set up what your primary colors are, what your font family is, if you need like a specific inset, which I needed on one of these pages. And then if you needed to overwrite the typography with that Pros typography plugin, right here, you can override some of those colors here. So setting all that up, setting up the basic template files here, just getting the single page, the single floor plan, seeing what that kind of looks like. Just setting up a simple sidebar and a search form. What does that look like? Let's see, what else would we cover? How to set up an archive page, and that's where all the filtering is happening. We're also going to talk about setting up a widget. So widgets are not ones that I typically use, but I feel like it's one of those things that you're going to have to learn how to do it at some point. And so figuring out how to set it up properly is how we'll do. Setting up a short code with a contact form, because the contact form that we use on the contact page and the contact form that we end up using in the sidebar on the news page are the same. And so why write it twice? You just put it in a short code and just drop it in both places. And then also we're gonna, learn how to do an AJAX form, and that sends an email. We're going to learn how to have, a set of like a helper function, and kind of like what's the purpose of those. And then having a floor plan class, just do like a simple class that's namespace that we can pull in information from ACF or from our custom post type and use it to display common things throughout our website. And then, what else? setting up custom types, kind of some of basic sidebar setup and menu setup, setting up breadcrumbs, all those things. So I don't know, like what do you guys think about what I've got so far? Do you think it's going to be enough for a course? Do you think it's going to be, you know, what else would you like to see in it? Granted, like there's a place for doing some of this kind of stuff on the regular YouTube channel versus the course, and keep in mind that it's free, so it's kind of has to, you know, stay within a couple bounds here. No, I didn't set up an options page, and that's actually probably a thing. Can you do that with the free version of ACF? Let's not actually look at the pro version. Can you do an options page with the free version? Where are, I guess it'll tell us on the pro, and if it's not there. So the repeater field, blocks, flexible content. Okay, options page. Yeah, options page is pro. So I won't be able to do that for this course. Yeah, with Mike says not interested in watching you add Tailwind classes. That's kind of the answer I was expecting. Yeah. Why not use Sage 10 as a starter theme? I thought about it. It's just the way that, so like I opted out of even using a starter theme at all for this because it's so simple. And we're just going to like start with an empty theme folder, and we're just going to start adding files as we go. So we're going to start by adding a style.css, index.php, functions.php, header.php, footer.php, and go on from there. Just because I didn't want to overload you guys. There's going to be some people out there that I think Sage in itself probably requires more time than I want to give it in a course like this, and I think it might be bit overloaded for this. But I do want to do a Sage tutorial on my channel. But yeah, I won't keep you guys on for too much longer. I think that you guys got me answered some of my questions that I wanted to get answered. Lazy loading images is definitely one that I completely forgot about. And getting yeah, that's very tempting with Mike's. $500 is a lot of money. But yeah, no, like making sure that we lazy load our images, that's a good one. I completely forgot about that. Getting so you can take this opportunity as a show when to put code in a plugin versus a theme. So if you have something that's reusable and not specific to the theme, put it in a plugin. Yeah, I think that's a really good kind of rule to abide by if you're going to reuse this on multiple projects. And that kind of goes back into a video that I did at some point with yeah, responsive images with source set. I think that's a good one too. And shoot, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, if you're like trying to set yourself up, and it was the tech dip video where you need to set up yourself better for future projects. And so if you can find something that you're reusing, just set it up for yourself in a plugin that you can kind of just use, or throw it into your starter theme, or maybe even a parent theme if you can do that. Yeah, responsive image. I'm just going to put that in there. Like my images need to make sure that they're lazy load images and responsive source set. Just got to make sure. It's always one of those like small things towards the end that you just got to go through your checklist and remember. But yeah, we can talk about Yeah, Sage Tuts. Yeah, we'll do a Sage Tut for sure. I just love those suite of projects. Bedrock is and Trellis are so good. Sage is so good. Yeah, hopefully this, like, people find this course helpful. Like, this is my first course ever, so this is going to be kind of a guinea pig. It's probably just going to be this one course probably this year. The next course is probably going to be a lot more, it's going to be a lot bigger than this one. And so it's going to take a lot longer. And I've had to take off work in order to work on this one. So I'm going to have to kind of time it right. But the next course is either going to be like enterprise level, what WordPress, like vanilla stuff, like we're pulling out all the stops, and this site is going to, you know, we're going to have logged in users. We're going to be managing data. We're going to be using, you know, animations like with Lottie. We're going to be, you know, having maybe like an app that goes along with it. Like the paid course is going to be worth the money, I think. And I'm going to try and make it that way. There's nothing that I can't stand more than a course that I pay money for that I don't feel like I got my money's worth. So like the one that you guys will hopefully end up buying or trusting me enough to purchase would be, you know, one that I would buy myself with a lot of good content in there. Cause like I kind of said at the beginning, my current background in WordPress is on the enterprise level. So like, I want to show you guys kind of what an enterprise WordPress website would look like, and kind of how that would work in the world and how to deploy it, and what an actual how all of those could how it could work. Break each of those into a small paid course. When you say break each of those, what do you mean? Oh, are you talking about the different parts of like the enterprise site versus like instead of doing all? I'm talking to with mics, by the way. Sorry, he's just typing and I'm just reading it. Um, so you're saying like with the enterprise stuff, maybe break that out a little bit? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea too. Instead of making it this like gigantic course with Lottie. Yeah. Yeah, sorry there's a delay. I'm seeing your messages way before you're hearing me respond to them. But yeah, break up the enterprise one. Yeah, I think that could be all right. It is a lot. That is true. And so maybe like it would be yeah, way too much there for one course. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's a good idea. I might consider that. Because yeah, I don't know. Because there's also the other thing. I did a oh, if we can go to my slides. I'm kind of diverging a little bit, but you guys are we're just hanging out at this point. Log in with Google. So here's like my slides where I show you guys during my videos. So there's like this other, oh, what happened to my picture there? Where was it? So like the real world example of this, I think would be actually pretty cool. So for those who don't know about this video, I did a talk at WordCamp SLC 2019 before the end times. And I ended up coming up with this idea of how like a headless WordPress site was set up. And I kind of came to this conclusion that if you have this like headless WordPress site, you could use WP GraphQL, you could send it to, you could essentially consume that data on multiple levels. You could do it with, you could send it to an app, like you can have a React app and just consume that data through the GraphQL server. You could have like your front-facing website and then you could have like an app, like a kind of a logged in area for your employees. So the idea was that you needed to have a website that showcased cars. You had a CRM for your salespeople, and then you had a mobile app for people who wanted to look at cars. So you had these three different facets of the site. Like you had three individual applications that all kind of consume data from one place. And I thought that would actually be, that was kind of the other thing that I was playing with when I was thinking about a paid course, is like, well, let's just do this. Let's just make 3 websites or 2 websites and an app and have it all consumed off of a headless WordPress install. So you just throw in WP GraphQL and and use Gatsby probably for the website and CRM, and use React Native for the mobile app, and go from there. But yeah, I like your idea with mics. I like that a lot. That's one of the things that I wanted to showcase. So with the free course, I'm afraid that I'm going to get a lot of flack for it because it's free. Like, and my idea behind it is that it's going to be like, it's going to be like the bare minimum. Like, I don't want to spend money to get this thing live kind of attitude. Like, my deployment with this free course is going to be like drag it through FileZilla and then just upload it. Like, because you can download FileZilla for free or any sort of like file upload thing, and you're just going to upload it. Like, and as much as like you can get a free GitHub account, you can get a free account with Buddy, you can SSH in there, you can get pull into there with, through that whole workflow. But it's just like, I feel like that's outside. That's like, I wouldn't put that much effort into like a very low dollar amount site, where I would on a higher dollar amount site or something like this, where it's like, it's worth it, the juice is worth the squeeze, could you make some videos using object-oriented programming, something like namespaces? Oh yeah, definitely. So I was planning on doing like a course on not a course, just like a series on MVC, and we'll do talk about that kind of stuff. Don't worry about the haters. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the kind words for sure. But yeah, no, like, I think this would be kind of the alternative. Like, and maybe this is just, I do one first and the other one second, where we do like a vanilla enterprise series course or whatever, where maybe it's broken up into other pieces, but then there's this other one where it's like, all right, headless WordPress, and how that would kind of work on the enterprise level. Like, this is, I think, the epitome of what makes a headless WordPress site awesome, is that you can do this kind of stuff. Oh, nice, Max. I'm glad that you're using Bedrock, Sage, and Trellis. Like, kind of speaking of like, and getting to like the thank you for the 10K and all that kind of stuff, is that like, I appreciate you guys really supporting me, and all the kind words that you guys have been showing me. Like, my whole goal, and I kind of want to say this out loud for everybody, like, because people ask me like, why are you doing this? Well, first of all, I'm self-taught, and I don't really like that word, because I think I learned from people, and we talked about it a little bit, from people like Chris Coyer. I've learned from people from like Jeffrey Ways, Wes Boss, Scott Tolinsky. Like, all those people have taught me. So I'm not like self-taught. I didn't like go through all the documentation by myself and just become a developer. Like, you rely on other people to kind of help you kind of become the developer that you are. And so my whole goal is to kind of like elevate the WordPress community to kind of become like aware of these other things that WordPress is typically used for outside of the space that people are used to seeing it in. Like, many times you just go to Bluehost, you click install WordPress, and you see the screen, you drag in some plugins, you install Elementor, you drag it around, all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what people see as WordPress. But I feel like there's so much more there that us as developers can kind of take advantage of, like Bedrock, Sage, Trellis, all of these different ways that you can elevate how WordPress development is and how other people see it, and and kind of just, I want to show people like the true potential of it. And like a good way about doing that is showing them under the hood, and showing them all the different ways that you can work with WordPress and what it can actually do, and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't know, I think just like, I don't know, I guess if you were put it into a tagline, it's just elevating the WordPress development community and just like kind of just showing all the things that are there. Yeah, Sage would be a great example of how to apply MVC for sure. And that's one of those things. Can you do a video with Gulp and Grunt workflow in WP development? I'm going to show you something that I had in this course that I took out. So Amado Weiss is a fantastic contributor to the WordPress community. He does so many things for the WordPress community. It's insane. And he does it all for free. So WP Gulp is a great tool. And if I were to do like a tutorial on Gulp and Grunt for WordPress, it would largely end up pointing here. It's just like a great tool that you install it and into your WordPress theme, npx WP Gulp npm start, and then all of a sudden you have it's doing your images, it's doing your it's your Sass, it's doing your JavaScript. It doesn't do everything that I want, and nor does it do the JavaScript in the way that I like it. And so that's why I ended up taking it out and just using Webpack instead. But it does a lot of things. And if this does what you want it to do, like, go for it. Install this. It's great. He does a VS, yeah, with Mike's, he does a VS Code course. So I encourage you guys all to buy that if you want to support him. But yeah, like if you're interested in Gulp and just want to get it going on WordPress, this is the way to do it. It's all done for you. And so if you're just looking to get going with it, do this. But if you're wanting to like actually know like how Gulp works, and like using pipes and the whole workflow, and getting something set up from scratch because you want to make something from scratch, yeah, we can do that. But just kind of in the WordPress space, like this is just the right way to do it if you just want to be efficient. But anyway, so yeah, free course going to be coming out next month or so. This is kind of where I'm at. If you guys have any suggestions as to kind of what you would like to see, please reach out to me on Twitter. That's the place that I'm going to see your comments the most. Just like direct message me. I've seen a couple comments on YouTube kind of looking for responses, and I don't see them until much later. I try and read just about every comment, sometimes to my detriment, but like the vast majority of them are positive and genuine. So like, I'm not going to stop doing that anytime soon, but it's much more likely that I'm going to see it, and I'm going to see it in a timely manner if you reach out to me on Twitter. So if you want to see something in this free course, or you saw something today that you're like, I don't know if that's a good idea, or something along those lines, hit me up and we'll chat about it. And definitely credit you for any suggestions that you make that I end up taking into account here. So it's just kind of 3 or 4 page thing, very simple, free. So hopefully you guys end up enjoying it. I'm gonna end the stream now, but I really appreciate you guys. Like, if we hit 10,000 subscribers, I appreciate the support. We've got a strong Patreon community. So we just released our second exclusive video, and we're kind of going through underscores right now, the starter theme, and looking at that. So if you would like to learn more about that, and you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting me, that's a good place to do it. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate the 10K. I appreciate the 1.25 years of being on YouTube and interacting with you guys. I really appreciate it. You guys are a great community. So let's just keep it going. All right. I'll see you guys. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.